Hey everybody, welcome back. I almost forgot to put the ears in. Um, we are getting ready to watch the movie We Are the Wave from 2008, and this is a German released movie. It is not, I found out there is a movie that I think is American vocals, American American language, English language, getting caught in chords. There we go. And Purdy and I have been fighting. Um, that I think Lesson Plan, which is also Lesson Plan, I'm sorry, is not a movie. It's a documentary that's mainly made up of interviews from the actual people. I am probably going to react to that at some point, but I have to pay for it. I can't find another way to get it. I can't get it on DVD. It's not on Netflix for streaming. So I'll get it done one day because I am interested in hearing things directly from the people that were involved. But until then, we're going to watch this. It is in German, so I've got the English subtitles on. I tested it enough to make sure that was working. So it was only the beginning credits and the music at the beginning. So that's all I saw so far. But I already know what the premise is if you guys have been following along. I don't have my contacts in. So if the subtitles are going really fast, I'm going to have to do a lot of pausing. And that's why I don't like doing subtitles. But if it's the speed of Windwalker and I think it was a piece of popcorn, Windwalker and Clan of the Cave Bear, and actually the original movie, the not the Untouchables. I think it was a French movie about a man who hired an American man to help take care of him, and he was crotchety and all that. The remake had Kevin Hart, and was it one of the Bridges? Jeff Bridges, maybe? I can't remember exactly. But the original, I was able to keep up with its subtitles, but the majority of it was in English, so that doesn't really count. so, so that's where we're at with things. If you have not watched my reaction to the Netflix series We Are the Wave, it was loosely based on what this is actually about. This is about a history teacher's experiment in a high school classroom in 1960. I just had this today, 1969 in Palo Alto, California. And basically, the concept is that the history students couldn't understand why people could get so sucked into doing these horrible, atrocious things or turning a blind eye to it and pretending like it didn't exist and that kind of stuff. And, unfortunately, we're seeing that. I mean, it's always been there, but I got interested in this because in the US, we've got a lot of people doing a lot of horrible things right now and thinking it's okay. And it's like, why don't you understand it's not okay? So that's what got me on this railroad track. Nobody um, requested me to do this. So, those of you that have watched it, thank you for watching. If you have anything to add, anything that you might know from your own research, or maybe some of the behind the scenes stuff of both the Netflix series and or this movie, then please feel free to share. I'd be interested in that. If you want to share your perspectives, I'd be interested in hearing that as well. I, for the most part, try to stay away from politics on the channel because it gets vicious. And it's not that I can't take it, but I try to pick and choose my battles. And I just realized, huh, the top lights of the Christmas tree are out. Huh, I'll have to see what happens. That's happened between last night and tonight. So um, hopefully that's not an omen. But you have to talk about politics in order to talk about what's going on with this. That was the whole point of this experiment to begin with. Anybody who says Nazism is not political doesn't know what you're talking about. Um, so, so if you've got any comments about politics, please be. I don't expect you to necessarily be kind, but don't be calling people names. Don't be derogatory. Don't be accusatory. Please show your receipts with your your information, all that kind of stuff. So let's keep it civil. All right. That being said, today is Christmas. It's actually the eve of Christmas Day. I just got done working. Yes, I've got one of those jobs where it never closes. So I had off Friday and Saturday. I worked today and Monday, Sunday and Monday, and then I have off Tuesday, and then it's back to regular work. So weird schedule, but I only had to work from 1 to 9. So it's now a little after 10. I got dishes taken care of. Now we're getting ready to watch this. I don't think the mail runs tomorrow, but just in case, I wanted to have this in the mail so that I can start season 5 of Game of Thrones. I try to space it out so I can get caught up, so I don't run out of storage on my laptop. That's where we're at. I'm red in the face because it's been freezing temperatures outside. We've been keeping it warm in here. The basement got a little chilly. I got to the point where I started thinking about how I was going to keep my feet warm there towards the end of shift. And it's one of those jobs where I can't walk away from the computer. I have to stay at the computer. So luckily, toes did not freeze to death. We're now upstairs where it's warm. My body's trying to adjust. Those of you that have dealt with my hot flashes know, yeah, I have problems regulating. So that's why I'm all red. I don't know if you can tell if I'm sweating or not, but that's why we're in the position we're in. Purdy has finally settled down. We've been fighting because while I was getting things set up, she was insisting on sitting in front of me, which was bothering me. And so now she's happy because she gets to lay in my lap. If you have not met Purdy, she is my 21-year-old cat. She's going to be 22 in 3 months. So, yeah, we fight a lot. Her dementia has ruined her. She forgets what the rules are. And then you may see the other cats as they come into view. If I notice, I'll point them out who they are and everything. But let's go ahead and get into this. I'm interested in seeing this. It looks like it's an actual film that's based on the experiment. I'll have to see if I can tell what's been Hollywoodized and what hasn't been. I have not uploaded, well, I haven't finished We Are the Wave yet, but We Are the Wave, the Netflix series. But I did watch a histographics video on YouTube. And then the other video I found, which I thought was just going to talk about what it was actually an after school special movie. It was only 44 minutes. So that will all be together. And then we've got this. I don't know when I'll get it uploaded, but you guys will see it at some point. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into it. That was way long winded. The Rat Pack. I don't know if the production company is named after the Rat Pack of Hollywood. I'm wondering if this is the history teacher. Looks like we've not quite in the late 60s, early 70s.
Toll, jetzt versauen wir nicht unser Image.
Ich muss nur noch ein paar Arbeitsblätter kopieren. Weißt du schon deine Zulage?
Nee, wieso?
Telling her she's worked too hard.
Herr Wieland?
She's wearing a Ramones t-shirt.
Wie man Molotow-Cocktails mischt, gehört allenfalls in den Chemieunterricht.
He wasn't going to teach her Molotov cocktails, was he?
Ferdi, wir wollten noch einmal bis zum Ende durchkommen, ohne Unterbrechung, oder?
Du hast doch gestoppt. Oberster Theater.
Oh, they're going fast.
Immer weiterspielen.
It is going fast, but as long as I'm understanding the concept of what's going on, I'm going to try not to pause it too much because otherwise we'll be here forever. Lay back down. That's the drama teacher, I take it.
Lisa und ich müssen noch für Spanisch lernen.
Das ist den ganzen Nachmittag.
Spanish class. I took 7 years of it and still can't speak it.
Eingetragen?
Ja, für die
The
Projektwoche.
tenses always
Hängen die
mess me
Listen
up.
schon aus?
Jetzt noch einmal die Zähne zusammenbeißen, okay?
Seeing how long he can hold his breath. Water polo? Mowgli? I only know Mowgli from the Jungle Book. Got a lot of gotta be better, one up, kind of bumping into each other, I'm better kind of attitudes, I guess would describe it as. Very competitive. Well, we can't show that.
Die meistgegoogelte Person im Internet ist wer? Paris fucking Hilton.
I definitely heard her name a lot at one period of time. Not much anymore.
Was willst du denn dafür haben?
Nichts.
Giving it to him for free.
Seid doch meine Homies.
He's gonna go broke if he keeps giving it away. Maybe he's just trying to pull him in. Or he lives on a boathouse.
Ja, danke.
I understood, danke.
Ich hätte ja an eurer Stelle lieber Anarchie genommen.
Beim Eulen Wieland?
Das hast du gesagt.
So, autocracy, I'm probably not saying that correctly, is kind of the opposite of democracy, right? I just want to make sure I'm following that part correctly. Okay, yeah. Autocracy, a system of government by one person with absolute power. Or autocracy. How do you pronounce it?
Jens, was versteht man unter autokratischen Staatsformen?
They're hoping to just skate through.
Vielleicht?
Ich glaube, Autokratie ist, wenn ein Einzelner...
Wait, was she not correct?
Lisa, enttäusch mich nicht.
Diktatur vielleicht?
Unter anderem, ja.
Part of it, okay.
Habt ihr Beispiele für solche Systeme?
Hitler.
Na kommt schon, also irgendeine Diktatur wird euch doch einfallen.
Drittes Reich.
There he
Ja,
goes.
nicht schon wieder.
Es geht darum, dass wir mit unserer Geschichte eine bestimmte Verantwortung haben.
Also ich bin tot.
And I do what I've been told, and I've mentioned this in the beginning of We Are the Wave, the Netflix series. My understanding is that Germany does talk about this and realizes the importance of not forgetting about it because they don't want to repeat it again. That's the basic concept from what I understand. So I don't know if this is necessarily how things got started in the Palo Alto class in California, but it lines up with what I've been told about Germany. And since this is based there,
Keine Ahnung.
so they're going to switch it up a little bit, and he's going to start this experiment to show that it could happen again.
Aber was ich meine ist, was hat jede Diktatur? Wir haben vorhin schon mal drüber gesprochen.
Followers.
Mann. Hi, Rainer. So eine Leitfigur verdient natürlich auch Respekt.
They're a little too excited for
Deswegen
this,
möchte
I
ich, dass er mich
think.
während der gesamten Zeit mit Herr Wenger anspricht.
Von dir lass ich mir gar nichts sagen.
Well, they
Immer
didn't
alle
need to
Sachen von
translate
eurem
bitch
Wissen.
for me.
Alles. Ihr kennt das doch, wenn der Puls so abfällt. Aber wenn ihr aufsteht, dann seid ihr nicht so müde und viel konzentrierter.
So switching it up a little bit, but kind of keeping some of the same
Marco, ich weiß, dass du müde
rules.
bist vom Training.
Tschüssikowski.
He spoke without
Ihr könnt euch wieder
permission.
hinsetzen.
V8 190 kW, 240 Spitze. Würde ich sagen, knallen wir mit dem Baby mal.
Is he going to go? I was going to ask if he was going to go on the Autobahn. I don't think I will drive on the Autobahn.
Ich finde es sehr gut, dass ihr euch anders entschieden habt.
So they're coming back
Setzt euch
in?
bitte nach hinten. Und zwar knapp. Ich weiß, dass du das kannst.
Okay.
Versuch mal, okay?
So kind of following the same
Hohe
principles.
Arbeitslosigkeit und soziale Ungerechtigkeit.
Selber Spasti. Hast du eigentlich kein eigenes
Don't like that
Zuhause?
word being used. And I don't like it because it puts down a whole community. So he's going to fill her in on what he's done.
Jetzt müssen wir mal aufstehen, wenn wir was sagen wollen. Das ist gut für die Durchblutung.
So I imagine this is going to be where the wife expresses concern and the father goes with it.
Hältst du dich da nicht daran?
Alter,
jetzt komm mal wieder runter. Rainer ist cool.
Und zweimal noch den Rücken, du Verräter.
Call him a traitor.
Was macht ihr denn eigentlich so?
Keine
Oh, that
Ahnung,
was a
warum es nicht
snake.
läuft.
I was like,
Diese
what is
erste
that in the
Gesamtspiel
background?
müssen wir endlich mal wieder gewinnen. Ist es nicht ein bisschen weit weg?
7 Stationen.
Was it the World Cup that they're
Barcelona.
planning on going to? Is this his own place? That's his mom.
So ein richtiges Lehrer-Ehepaar. Sind wir beide eigentlich auch so?
A real couple of teachers. What did she put? Oh,
Morgen. Ihr nehmt mich wohl nicht so richtig
took him by
ernst,
surprise a little bit.
oder? Das ist die Kraft der Gemeinschaft.
If we all bounce at
Wie lange müssen wir
the
noch?
same
Bis
time,
wir alle absolut
will
im
we
gleichen
shift
Rhythmus sind. Das kennst du doch vom
the Earth
Fernsehmodus.
off its axis. However, if everybody around the world did that, it wouldn't go anywhere. Getting them psyched up about a common goal.
Sind die denn wahnsinnig geworden?
He's definitely not happy.
Ich glaube, dabei entsteht eine Ellbogengesellschaft. Und ich bin fest davon überzeugt.
Darwinism.
Lisa ist in Mathe eine glatte Eins. Ihr könntet euch helfen.
So I wonder if Mona's reaction to the poor grades was a bit of a I don't know what to call it. I mean, he thought up his response real fast, so maybe that was legit the reason why he paired them up the way he did. But could it have been he just took an opportunity and ran with it? She assumed social status poor or economically poor, but hadn't considered the other. I mean, I thought Caros, I think that's how you say her name. I thought her answer was probably the most accurate. He knew certain people wouldn't be able to concentrate near certain other people, but who knows? Who knows? Since we're not given an insight to his thinking on why he's making the decisions that he's making. I don't know, but I wonder.
Der Typ geht gar nicht.
Das ist so eine Schlaftablette. Ich sag's euch, wenn ihr nicht den Alarm da oben veranstaltet hättet,
Oh, the teacher that wouldn't switch. So they're going to skip the other teacher's class and go to Mr. Wingers.
Ja, und zwar wollten wir fragen, ob
Wingers.
wir...
Uniformität.
Ja, aber Uniformen sind scheiße.
Dominik?
I agree.
Uniformen gibt's ja überall. Im Supermarkt, bei McDonalds, Stewardessen, Politessen. Selbst
True.
Anzüge sind so eine Art Dresscode.
Ja, aber Uniformen erfüllen ja auch einen anderen Zweck. Also sie eliminieren ja soziale Unterschiede.
No, I was going
Ja,
to just
sie eliminieren
mention
aber auch
that.
jegliche Individualität.
Part of, I don't want to say excuse, but part of the reasoning that private schools are saying that they have uniforms and everything is that so that all students are equal and you don't have one person wearing Tommy Hilfiger and another one with wholly hand-me-down clothes, that are unclean. So I was going to bring up that as well.
Also ich habe 2 weiße Hemden zu Hause. Du könntest eins davon haben.
Das nenne ich Teamgeist, Jens.
Team
Sehr gut.
spirit. So Lisa's buying a white shirt.
Korrekt. Hab ihm schon mal ein weißes verkauft.
So she saw that he lied in class and didn't have to, but is buying one for the other fella.
Wohl gerade Mode, was? Wo willst du denn hin?
Wieso?
Du siehst aus wie von der Klosterschule.
You look like a nun. So defending wearing the uniform. Throwing out his labels, or it looks like he's going to burn them. Yep.
Also doch. Wieder mal eine Sache der Eitelkeit.
Pure vanity. So shaming her.
Nur wegen so einem scheiß Hemd.
And this is actually falls into part of the surveillance as well. Everybody's in white. Yep.
Sinan? Terror Squad.
Terror squad.
Ernst gemeinte bitte. Sonst noch irgendjemand eine Idee?
Not calling on her because she's not in white.
Niemand?
So another way of shaming her.
Okay, du machst unser Logo. Damit kommen wir zur nächsten Stufe.
So is it going to be a circle with a wave in it, or a
Was hältst du
triangle
all
with
die
a wave
guten
in
Ideen,
it,
wenn man
or
auf dem
something
Hintern
else?
sitzen bleibt und nicht danach handelt?
Das wollte ich schon machen.
Das könnt ihr doch auch zusammen machen.
Nee,
No.
Oder wir könnten so Tattoos machen, hier so am Arm.
Postkarten, die wir dann in Kneipen ausrollen. Wir machen Hüte einfach für die.
Talking about what propaganda to use to disseminate the information. I don't know what they were cheering for. Why is he throwing his backpack away?
Ich hab gehört, du kommst an Kiffen.
Oh, he's the one that had the weed or whatever.
Ich zahl auch dafür, Alter.
So Anarcho-Zecken wie ihr gibt's nichts.
To anarchist freaks. So now viewing them differently.
Ihr Fascho-Arschlöcher.
Calling them fascists.
Wenn die Striche wieder Ärger machen, so dann rufst du mich an, okay?
Don't like that word being used that way either.
Also ich habe jedenfalls was Besseres vor, als den ganzen Tag auf unsere Prinzessin zu warten hier. Ich komm mit.
Does he have a bit of a stutter?
Er hat heute Nachmittag bei MySpace eine Seite gemacht, schon sind wir online. Ist doch geil.
Super geil.
I couldn't tell if she was... So she hasn't quite told him that it's gone too far, but she's kind of starting to go there with him. Oh, that's not good. Is that the new logo?
Das ist unser Zeichen.
Okay, so they switched it up a bit. It's not, it's not as simple as the other is. The other's a little bit easier to quickly do. What are they getting ready to do? It's nothing good if they're covering their faces. Okay, that was a little quicker. I guess the smaller ones are quicker. What you want, baby girl?
Jeden.
Isn't the band Anarchy uses that symbol?
Wenn man vom Teufel spricht.
Na, jetzt geh nicht ran. Du machst dich total uninteressant, wenn du ständig verfügbar bist. Glaub mir, ich bin ein Mädchen, ich weiß, wie wir ticken.
It's not exactly cool to tell the boyfriend to ignore the girlfriend. And of course he listened. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Not that I'm agreeing with what they're doing, because tagging is defacing property. And sometimes you can remove it, and sometimes you can't. You just have to recover it up.
So ein Computerbrain an der Uni, aber keine Schwester.
Well, we just learned something about him, but I'm not sure exactly what we learned. Of course, they're recording the video and saying the person's name. That doesn't really keep anonymity. Hopefully that angel statue doesn't fall. Are they going to see him up there? Is he hiding behind the plastic? Okay, hiding.
Geil, Alter, ey. Kein Scheiß, ich hab mich das nicht
Not sure
getraut.
how
Ich scheiß mir
you
schon die
did
Fuß
that
und
so
Bein
well.
abspringen muss.
Was haltet ihr hiervon?
Ganz
Oh,
gechillter
the
Bus für die
salute.
Welle. Ganz locker.
Eminem. Nee, Eminem ist das.
Ist das so ein Knall oder was?
Dich lassen wir auch nur rein, wenn du den Gruß machst.
So now the younger kids are joining.
Na gut, dann musst du den Kurs eben wechseln.
So when is he going to notice that it's out of control? And I'm sure this conversation will come back up. And we know at some point he realizes it's gotten out of control. Well, maybe when she says it.
Haben mit ihrer Art so ihre Probleme, aber meine Unterstützung haben sie. Ich find's gut.
Okay. So I'm assuming she's like the principal of the school. And so she hasn't noticed anything too disastrous yet.
Hey! Wie kommt ihr dazu, unser Zeichen zu übersprühen?
Keine Ahnung, wovon du redest, du Stricher.
Oh, they're the anarchists. Oh, hold a gun.
Ist schon gut.
That's going to give him a bit of a power trip, too.
Wie kannst du mit einer Pistole rumlaufen?
Nur eine Gaspistole, immer mit der Ruhe.
Something's going to end up happening with that gun.
Aber nicht so. Und ich werde doch auch behandelt wie eine Aussätzige, nur weil ich kein weißes Hemd trage.
Warum ziehst du es nicht einfach an?
Ganz einfach. Weil ich nicht will.
She wants to stay an individual.
Kann ich Ihnen helfen? Was willst du denn hier? Ich muss Sie beschützen.
Oh, he's going to be the one that acts as the bodyguard. Yeah. He could have gone to the party with all the others. And we know that there were 2 articles in the paper about the experiment.
Klar.
Pours himself another drink. He didn't get the hint.
Danke, Tim. Wir sehen uns dann morgen.
Das ist hier, wo die großen Seen zusammenkommen. immer noch ein halbes Dutzend nicht geborgener Wasserleichen schwimmt. Von
The
Tauchern
Great Lakes
gesehen
in the
und frisch
U.S.?
verunglückte Geil.
There's 5 Great Lakes, so I don't know if he's talking about the U.S. or if there's a similar moniker for lakes in Germany.
Nee, ist doch so.
We're
Sie
having
war
an
hier erstmal irgendwo
awkward
studieren,
conversation so far.
einen normalen Job zu machen, richtige Frau zu heiraten,
This
2, 3
is
Kinder bekommen.
Caro's boyfriend, right? He's gonna kiss her. Is somebody gonna get hurt? Maybe not. Somebody trying to intimidate her? They're at least making it seem that way. So does that mean all of her flyers are going to get picked up and nobody's going to see them? There is another bike there. Oh, what's his name is going to be there, isn't he? Fuck Bush. Oh, is this going to get him to change his mind? I take it that's red paint.
Marco, bitte.
So is Marco going to end up siding with Caro after this part?
weitergeht, oder? Ich will auch gar nicht wissen, wie ihr da hochgekommen seid, aber eins ist klar, das war lebensgefährlich.
I didn't expect him to yell at them.
Das könnt ihr mir glauben.
The reason why I didn't expect him to yell at them is because in the stuff that I've read, he was trying to figure out how to stop it without harming them further as far as their mindset. And maybe reading these essays will get him to that point.
Und nicht immer auf Einzelkämpfer machen. Ich
So
würde
he's
mich freuen, wenn du heute zum Spiel kommst.
realizing that the surveillance is going too far. Is this the game? Oh, giving everybody white shirts. That'll probably weird him out. They're in the auditorium. I was going to say, what color is our team? So I guess they're the blue caps.
Spinnst doch echt.
Rechte Seite ist für uns geblockt.
So is Caro going to talk to him again? They're not showing him looking at the crowd and seeing all the white shirts. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. He's drowning him. Oh, give him a bloody nose. Bench him. Realize what a big problem it is, Marco.
Ja, eifersüchtig, dass sie in dir kein Vorbild sehen, trotz deines Einser-Diploms.
And he's about to sleep on the couch.
Mal, wo es lang geht.
Ach, Schmalspurpädagoge, das ist das Problem.
Ja, ist doch
I
genau
think
das,
she's
was sie
going to
von mir
walk
denkt.
out. Yeah, she's walking out.
Du hast es gesagt und du hast es gemeint. Du hast dich in den letzten Tagen echt zu solchem Arschloch entwickelt.
Good for her.
Das hat sich geärgert, oder? Es wäre zum ersten Mal meine Show gewesen.
Oh, did they lose the match?
Caro, lass mich nicht so
That wasn't her alone. Okay, so it seems to be following what the after-school special thing did. So this must have been something that happened. It must have, they must have found out about this kind of thing in the interviews since, of course, they're both, no, the after-school special is English-based. So they're keeping it the same. I'm guessing it's a common fact. So he's reading the essays. That's going to be Tim again. Marco, okay. So are we going to end with the pep rally and the new leader being announced because of it going nationwide? He doesn't like putting the white shirt on now. Now the thing that we read on said that he had friends act as journalists in media. It's kind of creepy.
Wir gehören alle einer Bewegung.
So changing it up a little
Die
bit.
Welle gibt uns wieder eine Bedeutung. Aber in Wirklichkeit ist es doch so. Die Armen werden immer ärmer und die Reichen immer reicher.
So he's eventually going to get to the same ending.
Ein Terror, den wir selbst geschaffen haben. Und während wir langsam aber sicher unseren Planeten zugrunde richten.
How's he going to show that Hitler is tied to this kind of language? So this is part of the twist, but I'm still not sure how he's going to do it. I can't understand what they're yelling.
Wir haben alle, die nicht unserer Meinung waren, aus unserer Gemeinschaft ausgeschlossen.
Okay, so he's getting the point across, just differently.
Ich will, dass ihr jetzt alle nach Hause geht. Es gibt sicherlich genug, worüber ihr nachdenken müsst.
Well, we've got some that are not wanting to accept it, which is normal. This is a twist. Was not expecting that.
Weiter und ich schieße ihn ins Gesicht. Und dann?
I don't think he'll shoot him. Oh, was not expecting that either. Can't talk. Was not expecting that either. Because that was not, if from what I understand, that was not part of what happened with the actual experiment. I wonder what they're charging him with. I don't know the rules in Germany, the laws. Was it basically creating the environment that caused this situation? Especially since he is a teacher and they are students. The media is there.
The film was doing something else that I didn't understand.
Huh, good. This is in English. I wanted to see if they had some commentary, and so let me go ahead and give my reaction to the actual movie first, and then we'll listen to some of the commentary. If you've seen any of my other reactions that are emotional, I can't talk about things right away normally. I can't cry and talk, so I'll try to stay calm. I understand why they did what they did. One is they've got to Hollywoodize it. They got to have a little bit of a twist. I just was not expecting it to go that way. I wasn't expecting one student to get shot and the other one to kill himself. But I think that does point to the concerns that Ron Jones, the teacher, the history teacher in Palo Alto, California, he was concerned about how do you break the news to these students without breaking their minds. And I think this was a good example of that. And I thought he was getting the point across in a good way, but it was kind of sudden. But Tim also had shown, at the very least, when he stayed the night at Mr. Winger's place, sorry, a little bit of a hiccup there, that the wave had become his life. And so we saw that when he stayed the night at Mr. Winger's. But, then when Mr. Winger took the wave away from him, it shows how desperate he became, how much that consumed him. And and it's not necessarily all people who it becomes their life would do that, but that certainly is an option that could have happened. The best scenario would have been kind of a similar kind of setup, but also had counselors there to help with debriefing, knowing that some were taking this very seriously while others were taking it seriously, but not as serious as some, and then others that were just going with the flow with things. I mean, we have debriefings for all sorts of trauma type of situations, and even though in the movie it only happened over 1 week, I think the Palo Alto experiment, I think it was 2 weeks. Maybe that was just the after school special that was 2 weeks. But even though, let's say 2 weeks at the most, that was still traumatic for students to go through when you notice how seriously they're taking it, and then you take that away from them. So no matter how he broke the news to them, I would have definitely included some mental health counselors there to help debrief the students. And you can actually start with somebody debriefing the group as a whole, and then debrief them individually as well. When I helped with Hurricane Katrina with the Red Cross, everybody, it didn't matter what position you were in when you volunteered with the Red Cross, you had to go through a debriefing. And so I had mental health counselors only had to volunteer 2 weeks at a time because it's hard to get them for 3 weeks at a time. But, as I was exiting my volunteer round, I had to do the debriefing. And there was some stuff that I went through that I wouldn't necessarily call it traumatic, but it was definitely stuff I needed to process. Like at one point, they were afraid the crowd was going to turn on us. And so they were trying to get us out of there, but they didn't want us to tell the crowd what was going on. And so, yeah, we didn't agree with it. We didn't want to leave. We told them the crowd's not turning on us. They've been very reasonable, but they still made us do it a certain way. And we did not like how we left the situation. In fact, our vehicle that I was in, I was driving it, and we got stuck, and members of the crowd helped unstuck us, even though they knew we were leaving. So, it goes to show that you never know how people are going to react, but also you want to take precautions. So it's a double-edged sword, a fine line, however, whatever metaphor you want to use, type of thing. And so it wasn't traumatic for me in the sense that I lost everything in a hurricane, because, I mean, the folks that we were seeing lost everything in the hurricane. But it was stuff that we didn't necessarily agree with doing. And so it's good to process that. So that's why I recommend that in this situation, no matter how he decided to break the news to them, I would have had counselors there for debriefing. It also shows us how dangerous it can be to do something immersive, to do something where you're trying to get them to learn. So you're trying to get them to learn hands on by actually doing the things and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't have good guidelines, and good monitoring, how it can get out of control. And the other class, the anarchy class, he had stuff all written out and wanted to do it and all that kind of stuff. But the other teacher wanted to do it. This class, he was having to come up. Tufts of fur. I don't know if it picked up on the camera, but it wasn't a fur, it was tufts of fur. But he was making it up as he went along. And the principal at one point did call him into the office and said that she supported him. She liked the fact that he did things out of the box, but he wasn't being monitored enough. Yeah. So it's still, as an observer, it's still hard to understand how people get in these mindsets about things that you're like, well, one of the common expressions is you're just reading the bullet points, meaning they're not doing the critical thinking. They're just saying what their leader, whatever their leader is, what they're saying. Here in the US, especially lately, like I said, it happens all the time, but especially lately, it's more pronounced with the MAGA crowd. Not all MAGA, but a lot of MAGA, when you try to have a conversation and talk about well, according to this journal or this research, or when you try to point things out, there's always a diversion of some sort, at least in the conversations I've had. And I've had people when I point at research, for instance, with the vaccine, when I've pointed at the research and what the research says, they're like, well, that's all propaganda. They they automatically throw it into a category of propaganda when it's not. You know, science is science, it's not propaganda. But because it doesn't fit their beliefs, they're not wanting to hear it. And so how do you put yourself in their position when there's just no reasoning? And you think for yourself that you think reasonably, right? I think reasonably. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But, you know, you don't want, we don't like it when we're challenged on something. We don't like it when we're told that something of our belief is wrong and they have the receipts to prove it. You know, we want to think that we're the reasonable ones and that sort of thing. And so it's hard to put ourselves in that other shoe. So even though I've done the research, I've watched the series, and actually the series, because you're kind of living it with them, you can kind of see how it forms a little bit easier than it is in this, because this is 2 hours versus 6 hours. Um, it's hard to believe what we're seeing in this. And it's hard to believe that people would, like, if I were in that class, I would think my reaction would be, of course, I've told y'all in other videos if you've seen it, I'm very opinionated. I don't like to be told what to do. There's a reason why I didn't do the military. you know, all this kind of stuff. I would think if I was in the class and part of learning this topic was to go with the flow, I would think that I know intellectually that I'm going with the flow and this is just a classroom thing and it's going to end and I can move on and do my thing, even if it's something I don't agree with necessarily. I would hope that I wouldn't get sucked into that heavy belief, especially as strong as Tim did. But even like some of the others, like the one guy who stood up and said, but there was some good, we can fix it and still keep doing it, not realizing that it's still an issue, it's still a problem, whether you're doing good or not, kind of thing. So it's still hard to understand, but I think this movie did a good job of keeping true to the source for the most part. There were some changes, but that's fine. I expected that. The ending I did not expect. That went way further than I was expecting. But I think it's a good movie, a good demonstration. So, okay, I'm going to listen to the commentary. I don't know if I'll include it as part of the reaction or not. But if you see parts of it, you know that it was something because I was commenting. So here we go.
The experiment only took place in 1 week, and if my emotions were the gambit of,
So
I've
it was one
discovered
week.
how to really teach well, because people were learning
So
rapidly.
this
I
must be
kept coming
Ron
home to my wife
Jones.
saying, one day I'm walking into the faculty room, and Robert had followed me, and I didn't
Okay.
anticipate that.
So this is Ron Jones. Robert is kind of the Tim character. Robert acted as his bodyguard and did go into areas in the school where even students aren't allowed, just teachers.
I was dismissed from that school 3 years after the WAVE experiment, and I was never allowed to teach again in public high schools.
Oh, wow. I
Oh,
didn't
it
know
is
that.
working in every school. That's people always ask, do you think the WAVE could take place today? Hey, go to your local school, or you're testing so you can get someplace else, and it's a control, but you don't have control.
Go back to him.
And in the mid 80s and 90s, it was only fashion, music, movies, which is important, but no idea at all. And
It's also interesting to get, I take it he's the director, so it's interesting to get his point of view on this as well. Might have been writer as well, director and writer.
The situation is so believable, it means a lot of us. And
That
for
is a
me,
good
he's
compliment.
really, this is connected in my head. And
I don't understand why both the Ron Jones interview and the Dennis Gansel interview seem to be very quick and cut off. So I don't like that aspect of these bonus scenes that we're getting. But Dennis seems to be both the writer and director. So I got that correct. Let's check out the behind the scenes. Filming through glass, that must be hard. That's a good way to hide the crew, isn't it? I was going to say, is it getting staticky because he's getting so far away from where it's receiving the immediate shot, whereas the film is not going to have that, of course.
So me, I'm you. We look a little bit alike, don't we? This is. Yeah. Damit steht das Ergebnis fest. Heißt ab jetzt die Welle.
Oh, looks like, are we at the beach? Fangs likes the swimming part. That's a cool camera. Oh, they cut that part out.
Also, sind wir durch?
Cool. It's all over, Fangs. That's it. I am curious how they did the trailer. Oh, we're all done. We can go to bed now. You want to help me wrap it up? Nope. All right. Thank you all for joining me on this one. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Let's go to bed. That wasn't an invitation to lay back down.